Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome back. Had a earlier briefing, and now we have budget. We have bill hearings. It's February the 8th. It's budget and tax, and we have 8 bills today. I'm going to read the order. It will be Senate Bill 314, 316. 349, 369, 383, 391, 337, and 403. Remind everyone that you'll have 2.5 minutes to provide your testimony. We're pleased you're here with us today. You can do your best if you're in a big group of people testifying to try not to be repetitive. That would be awesome. With that, we are going to get started with the first bill, 314, Sen Rhodes Pep, income tax mechanical installation tax credit.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And I will avoid being repetitive by letting my experts explain how this all works, because I'm not as good at it as they are. The big picture here is this is part of the overall effort that we're making in this state and in this country to fight climate change, to improve energy efficiency, to reduce energy waste, and to save money. This is a niche in the economy in which mechanical installation in industrial and commercial buildings can make material differences in reducing energy waste. And what this bill is designed to do is to incentivize people who may not have looked at it to take it seriously. It's been done in other states, and I think it's something we should do here. That's it, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you very much. Excuse me, Brian Cavey.
Good afternoon, Chairman Gazzoni, Vice Chair Rhodes Pep. Senator Rhodes Pep, thank you for proposing this legislation. Members of the committee, thank you for the opportunity to speak to you today about the opportunities that mechanical insulation offers in energy efficiency and carbon emissions. My name is Brian Cavey. I'm the business manager of Heat and Frost Insulators and Allied Workers, Local 24. The building sector accounts for about 76% of energy usage and 40% of primary energy usage in associated greenhouse gas emissions in the United States. Upwards of 30% of all commercial buildings have damaged or missing insulation. Sometimes insulation is part of the value engineering process where there's a need to lower original construction costs without a regard of the energy usage or energy costs later. During maintenance activity, insulation is also removed or damaged and not replaced. The percentage of a building's energy uses is exponentially greater than the percentage of damaged or missing insulation. In other words, if you're missing 30% of insulation, that can result in a 50 or 60% waste of energy and emissions. So a little means a lot. There are options in the building sector when it comes to increasing energy efficiency, but mechanical insulation offers an incredible return on investment with as little as 6 months for a heating system being fairly typical. Creation of this work will require a need for an increased workforce, which in turn creates not just jobs, but careers in the insulation industry, an industry that uses Maryland State Apprenticeship Registered programs as well. Having an incentive to building owners to increase their efficiency and lower their emissions is crucial. I had, in addition to the written testimony that you guys may have seen that had 2 energy audits, that you can get more information, more detailed information. We urge a favorable report on this legislation. Thank you, Chairman.
Thank you very much. Pete Alamini?
Yes. Yes, you said it correctly. Thank you. Thank you, Chairman Gazzoni and Co-Chairman Senator Rhodes Pep and the members of this committee for the opportunity for me to express favorable testimony in favor of this bill, SB 314. My name is Pete Alamini, and I'm the Executive Director of the Insulators Labor Management Cooperative Trust. After completing my engineering degree, I immersed myself in numerous positions in the mechanical insulation industry. I feel I am more than qualified to offer testimony in support of this Maryland tax incentive bill. The Maryland tax credit bill will be a huge step to increase work opportunities for Maryland residents, and all the same reducing harmful air pollutants, as well as conserving energy and saving money. Mechanical insulation increases efficiency, reducing operating costs, and lowers the carbon footprint. There is no doubt that energy technology will lead us into a path of alternative fuels in the future. But we must be realistic and reasonable with the timeline of expectations. Dependency on fossil fuel will be part of our energy use in commerce and transportation for years to come. But having it being used efficiently is smart energy stewardship. Mechanical insulation is used in all buildings, and incentives are needed to raise the awareness of this ignored and misunderstood engineered science of mechanical insulation. Underutilization and devaluing mechanical insulation and awareness of its benefits is unfortunately all too common. Please do not assume that building codes and other regulation, such as the ANSI ASHRAE standard 90.1, which is a requirement, part of the building codes, but don't assume it automatically incorporates proper monitoring and inspection on a timely basis, because it does not. Many times, the requirement is to install, but there is no such requirement to inspect. This incentive bill will offer awareness that will motivate building owners, and they will quickly realize the benefits well beyond the tax credit with the increased business and lowering of their carbon footprint. This will ultimately result in more careers for the people of Maryland, good paying, high skilled careers through apprenticeship programs, as Brian talked about before. And when we train people for apprenticeship, in the apprenticeship program for careers, that's a lifelong earning, as opposed to just jobs. Jobs have a denotation of just being used temporarily. We train people for a lifetime career. The application of mechanical insulation will require training and expertise, usually through the U.S. Registered Apprenticeship Program. Thank you for allowing me to share my thoughts and recommendations for this particular incentive. Please feel free to contact me if you have any further questions, and please feel free to look at my submitted written testimony as well, where I give you more proof in the science and the math of what we're talking about. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you very much. Yeah, I forgot to mention that, and we heard it there. There's sort of this voice from above when you're come to your end on the testimony, but want folks to finish up their thought wherever they are. That's the 2.5 minute mark. But thank you very much. Next up is James Petras.
Close enough. It's Jim Petras or James Petras, but I answer most anything. So
I haven't been doing very well today, so everybody look out.
It's all good. So dear Chairman, Vice Chairman, and members of the committee, I'd like to thank you for the opportunity to speak today and to present testimony in support of SB 314. My name is Jim Petras. I'm Director of Energy Services for Advanced Specialty Contractors with offices in Elkridge, Maryland. I've been involved in contracting involving energy conservation reduction since the 1980s. I've spoken at numerous forums throughout the US and Canada. In addition, I performed energy appraisals in thousands of facilities throughout the United States. Recently, I just finished up a lead on a project in Indian Head, Maryland, which involved more than 30 miles of outdoor steam piping distribution at our base. Having performed appraisals on buildings for municipalities, universities, schools, hospitals, manufacturing facilities, and residents, it's evident to me that our current policy concerning maintaining energy efficiency and facility conservation is inadequate. I worked on one recent appraisal in one large manufacturing facility where excessive heat was created by packaged boilers for process heating, while in the same area, chillers were used to cool the air to keep the workers from overheating. Through identifying energy savings opportunities and installing mechanical insulation, we saved the facility over $1 million per year in energy costs alone. These savings allowed the facility to expand. In turn, they hired more workers. It helped the local economy while helping multiple business, local and across the state. Our current laws and business models incentivize business to invest in short-term investments with a focus on reducing labor costs by cutting workers or manufacturing offshore. If we can incentivize business to invest in energy conservation to reduce energy costs by conserving the energy we produce instead of losing much of the power we create through heat or BTU loss, we will all be better off. Some of the benefits of installation of mechanical insulation include a reduced energy loss, reduced energy costs, more consistent energy and fuel budgets, an exceptional return on investment, reduced emissions of pollutants, enhanced personnel protection, noise control, fire safety, condensation prevention and freeze protection, reduced system corrosion, reduced equipment stress and lifespans, reduced ongoing maintenance expenses, improved process flows, a more attractive and comfortable working environment, reduced acoustical levels, a more competitive plant operation due to reduced cost. This also results in job creation through improved competitiveness of manufacturing facilities throughout the state. I'm support of SB 314 as one measure to help motivate all stakeholders to move our country forward, improving energy efficiencies, making ourselves more competitive in the global market by reducing costs, reducing air pollutants, improving quality of life for most of our citizens, and helping provide future employment for everyone. Thank you. I appreciate your time.
Thank you very much. I have a couple more people signed up, but they seem to be signed up on several, which gives me the idea that they may not be actually signed up for this one.
I think, and they're not even in the waiting room, so I think they made a mistake.
Okay.
I mean, you can,
They're signed up on the next one too, so.
they're signed up on quite a few.
Yeah.
I don't know if you want to call, maybe they're in here and I don't know, but
Eduardo and
fine, or Kevin.
Kevin, either you here? Okay. Well, let me see. Are there any questions for the panel from the committee? Okay, seeing none, that concludes the hearing on Senate Bill 314. Thank you very much for coming in today. And we're going to move on to.
What happened?
Hello?
Yes, what happened? Because I've been waiting at the virtual waiting room.
Do you want to speak on Senate Bill 314?
Yeah, I mean.
About mechanical installation?
Yes, I mean.
Okay.
Is it the filing fee, electronic filing fee?
No. That's it. That bill is number 403, and that's the last bill on our agenda today. We're just on the first bill right now. We're moving on to the second bill. Okay?
Okay. Yeah.
Thank you. All right, so moving on to Senator Elfreth, sales and use tax diaper exemptions, the Senate Bill 316.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, colleagues. For the record, Senator Sarah Elfreth representing District 30, here to present Senate Bill 316, which will provide really meaningful tax relief to Maryland families. We've all seen and heard from constituents, particularly over the last 2 years, real challenges in being able to get the essentials for their families. Diapers are essential not just to healthy babies, but also to making sure that parents can participate in the workforce and children are growing up healthy. U.S. diaper banks have seen a 300% increase in diaper requests from families nationwide. And 1 in 3 low-income families face the dilemma of regularly obtaining clean diapers. And as of this year, there are no federal programs. So if you benefit from the SNAP program or the WIC program, that does not cover diapers. We've seen in food distribution lines, I know in my community, and I know folks on this call have experienced in their own communities, the great demand for diapers, especially as we've seen inflation increase and supply chain issues really impact the ability to afford and obtain diapers. Now, I put in my testimony, I don't have children yet, Mr. Chair, but I was actually pretty shocked at the amount of diapers that families need and have to go through. So infants of 1 month of age or younger will use 10 diapers a day. When you get to a month to about a year, that's 8 diapers a day. And children 1 and 2 use about 6 diapers a day. So they go fast and they're pretty expensive. Senate Bill 316 will make them tax-free, and that will save families, a little bit of money every week or month that they buy diapers. And I think that's incredibly meaningful, again, particularly given the economy and particularly given the results of the pandemic. I'm really excited to have folks on the call to help explain kind of the state challenge. We have folks from the diaper bank, and I really, Mr. Chair, I'm so proud that one of my youngest constituents, Caleb, is here to testify as well. He goes to South River High School. He reached out to our office. He's been very active in diaper drives in our community, and I'm happy that he's here to support the bill. And with that, Mr. Chair, I request a favorable report of Senate Bill 316.
Thank you, Senator. Senator Jackson, you have a question for the sponsor?
I do, Mr. Chairman, and I apologize. I am having grandbabies. I do think this is a terrific bill. But I also, have a family, a large family with a lot of mature individuals as well. And Senator, I apologize that I haven't read the bill. Is this just for infants only, or is this for adult diapers as well?
Senator, I thank you for the question. Adult diapers are actually currently tax-free because they're considered, they just fall under medical devices in our tax code. So they are tax-free as it stands.
All right, thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Philip Vander.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And thank you also, Vice Chair and members of the committee, for the opportunity to testify today in support of SB 316. My name is Philip Vander. I'm the Director of Policy and Government Relations for the National Diaper Bank Network. We represent a network of over 250 nonprofit diaper banks across all 50 states, DC, and Puerto Rico, including 4 that serve Maryland. I would like to thank Senator Elfreth for her commitment to supporting Maryland's families and accessing the diapers they need to keep their children clean, dry, and healthy. As she described, diaper need is a prevalent and often overlooked public health issue. During the pandemic, many diaper banks across the country saw demand for their services increase by 200 and up to even 600%. In response, diaper banks work hard to increase their distribution by an average of 86%, almost entirely on the back of philanthropy. Because unfortunately, as the Senator mentioned, without a dedicated federal funding stream, supporting diaper banks and only 6 states providing funding, there's substantial unmet need that simply hasn't abated during the pandemic. By exempting diapers from sales taxes, SB 316 would provide critical tax reform for families. Parents working hard to make ends meet stretch each dollar as far as they can, and savings from the sales tax exemption can enable them to buy a larger quantity at better prices. And over the course of a year, this can mean an additional full month supply of diapers, what's so important for our families who are actually missing up to 4 days of work each month because they don't have the diapers they need to drop their child off at childcare. Due to the impact of diaper need on families' finances, our research actually shows that every dollar invested in diaper distribution yields an $11 return thanks to improved work and education outcomes. There are currently 10 states that exempt diapers from sales taxes, with Louisiana and California being the most recent. So thank you for this time to present in committee today. I ask for your support for this important legislation that would put Maryland on track to become the 11th state to support children and families in this important way. I'm happy to answer any questions from the committee if there are any.
Thank you very much. Next up, Caleb O.
Yeah, good afternoon, dear Chairman, Vice Chairman, and members of the committee. Thank you for the time to testify in support of SB 316, and thank you, Senator Elfreth, for working with me over the past few months. My name is Caleb O. I'm a junior at South River High School in Anne Arundel County. I co-run the nonprofit organization Kid Change Makers with my brother Joshua, and we assist the homeless, food insecure, and foster youth in our community, with an emphasis on providing service opportunities to young youth leaders. Over the last year, we have focused much of our efforts on combating period and diaper poverty, and we have collected and distributed over 100,000 diapers throughout our community. Through my experience, I have witnessed an increased collective need for diapers. Diapers are not affordable, and they're not covered by WIC or covered by SNAP. And the pandemic has worsened this problem for millions. The price of basic goods has gone up dramatically during the pandemic, and diapers are no exception. Over this last summer, Diaper prices increased by 10 to 20% due to inflation across the country, and diaper taxes further exacerbate this problem. Diaper costs and the related taxes have further crippled families' abilities to provide for their young children. Many have to resort to unsanitary or disastrous alternatives. I've seen hundreds of desperate families throughout my community, and they have expressed immense gratitude for programs like pop-up pantries and diaper banks. And they have shared heartbreaking stories of their struggles. A pack of 200 diapers costs upwards of $50. For needy families with infants and toddlers, this creates a dangerous decision between food and health. No one should have to choose between hunger and safety, and SB 316 can help prevent this. Essentials like medicine, feminine hygiene products, and adult diapers are rightfully tax exempt in Maryland, and I believe it is imperative that diapers follow suit. Thank you for the time to express my views and recommendations on such an important issue.
Thank you, Callie. Great testimony. You're a great activist. Next up, Kimberlee Haven.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chair, members of the committee. Caleb, you are spot on. I love to hear youth step up and testify on something that they believe so passionately in. Thank you so much, Caleb. My name is Kimberlee Haven. I'm the Executive Director of Reproductive Justice Inside. We are a national organization that is concerned about the reproductive and sexual health care and access for incarcerated and formerly incarcerated women and girls. We are here today in support of Senate Bill 316. As Senator Elfreth said, and as Caleb so eloquently articulated as well, the need is critical in our communities, particularly for individuals who are coming home from prison, from incarceration, when they are trying to get established and they're jumping right back into having to be a parent and not be able to afford the very basic supplies that they need. When I read the bill and I saw that baby powder and baby oil are exempt, but diapers aren't, I was incredulous, to be perfectly honest. When we had people during the pandemic, and as the Senator and Caleb said, during the pandemic, this was made even more critical. We had members of our coalition of our constituency reaching out. We referred them to diaper banks only to find out that the diaper banks also were struggling to meet the needs of our communities. This is basically a human right. It's a human dignity, just like we did with menstrual hygiene products, just like we did, to say that this is something that every baby needs. This is not an option. And so to remove the sales tax on something that is so critical is just one step that Maryland can take to put us on the right path, that we believe in families. We believe in supporting our families across our community. And as a final note, I do not want to be behind Louisiana. I'm sorry. Maryland should be out in front of this because we know what we need to do. This is good legislation. And I urge the committee's support for Senate Bill 316 on behalf of the Reproductive Justice Inside Coalition and all of our allies and partners.
Thank you very much. Next up, actually, again, I don't know if they're on, should be on this one or not. Eduardo and Kevin, are they part of this?
I don't see them.
Still don't see them.
No.
Okay. All right, then we'll move on to Shelly Tucker.
Thank you so much. Thank you to the chair and vice chair and members of the committee for allowing Maryland Diaper Bank to submit testimony on behalf of Bill 0316. I'm Shelly Tucker, founder of the Maryland Diaper Bank, a 501c3 nonprofit that provides diapers and other basic diapering essentials to families across Maryland. I want to start off my testimony with my most important cliff note that every baby deserves a clean bottom. And just to go into a little bit to explain our first years in business, I wanted to highlight a few things. In 2018, we started, and Maryland's population for children under 3 was nearly 220,000, and 8% of those families were earning less than 100% of the federal poverty level, which was the backdrop of our community need that ignited the mission for Maryland Diaper Bank. In 2019, we also saw another major impact in the population where we suffered from a 35-day federal government shutdown. It was then that nearly 20% of Maryland's workforce was impacted. And by the close of 2019, 12% of those Maryland's children that were under the age of 18 lived in poverty. Now jumping into 2020 with the COVID pandemic, which exacerbated the economic challenges already faced by Marylander families and dramatically increased the need for support. According to the census January 2020 census impact report, nearly 200,000 Maryland households earned below the national poverty level. Of this population, 171,000 of those families were led by single heads of household, nearly of those being 120,000 being women. So women and mothers in particular have borne the brunt of economic consequences brought on by the ongoing pandemic. Struggling under the pandemic imposed economical and financial difficulties that mothers had to face, and that included dual hygiene equity challenges. Leveraging already limited resources, mothers must choose between providing a sufficient supply of diapers for their babies and adequate feminine hygiene products for themselves. The burden of dual hygiene inequity creates a layered tax on motherhood and financial burden on mothers not faced by other demographic populations. Given the continued economic challenges faced by Marylanders, the need for support is at an all-time high. Tax sales relief on diapers will alleviate the compounding efforts of the layered tax mothers, girls, and babies identify with. Through these turbulent times, we remain committed to our mission to support Maryland families, and we appreciate your affirmative vote on this bill to do the same. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Devron Croxon. Kim?
Yes, sir. I'm sorry. I was talking to Jane. Who were you calling on?
Devron Croxon.
He's not, I don't see him.
How about?
A lot of people, Senator, that names I don't recognize that aren't even on the sheet. So I don't know whether it's worth just calling their name and we just move on.
Okay.
So,
Alan Leandre? No?
no.
Mr. Chair, I did look up that testimony. I think they meant to sign up for a Senate Bill 136 or a different number of the same different configuration of the same numbers. So.
Okay. Okay, thank you. Well, that looks like it on that bill. Unless there are any questions from the committee for the panel. Okay, that concludes Senate Bill 316. We'll move on to Senate Bill 349, Baltimore County Property Tax Credit for Homeowners who have suffered a hardship. Senator Hedelman.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman, Mr. Vice Chair, and members of the committee. My name is Shelly Hedelman. I'm Senator from District 11 in Baltimore County. This Senate Bill 349 is a Baltimore County local bill. It will be heard next week in our local delegation. What the bill does, it is enabling legislation, and it allows the Baltimore County Property Tax Assessment Appeals Board to have the discretion to allow for hardship cases for people who are seeking a homeowner's property tax credit if they have experienced a hardship within the last year. You'll hear very shortly from two people who are members of that appeals board, they heard many hardship cases and their hands were tied in their ability to be able to do anything if somebody experienced a hardship and had to take money out of a retirement account and exceeded the combined gross income cap of $60,000. This would allow the person who is appealing to be able to present very detailed evidence that they personally experienced that hardship, and it would allow the appeals board to grant them an exception. Obviously, the Baltimore County Council would have to implement the details of this bill, so it is enabling. I'm happy to answer any questions and would love to turn it over to my panel if it's okay with the chairman. Thank you.
Very good. William Chase.
My name is William Chase. I'm the chairman of the Board of Appeals in Baltimore County for Assessment and Taxation. I've been doing this for 11 years. Let me give you an example of what we're talking about. A person who has 60,000 minimum income qualifies, takes out their 401k because of a problem, health problem, house problem, or some kind of financial problem, applies for it and gets denied, not knowing that their 401k is now part of their gross income and puts them over to 60,000. They appeal that decision by the state and have a hearing in front of us. We do it once a month. We have about 30 hearings on the list, and all these people, about 1/3 of them show up and they start telling their problems. And I have to say to them, well, I'm sorry, I can't do anything for you because that's gross income, and it's the only thing that's included is gross income. There's no substitutes for it. There's no hardships for it. It's gross income. And these people come to us looking for a impartial hearing, but I can't give them an impartial hearing because the law says gross income, period. Karen and I, you'll hear from Karen, we felt that watching these people cry in front of us sometimes, that should be some type of movement for us as board members, listen to these issues, that we could have some leeway to make some decision to reduce, to let them get the credit. And that's why we put this bill in. We think it's not something that the majority of people are going to use. If I tell you, it'd probably be 1/8 of the people that apply for it that are going to be in this category, but it gives us some movement. It feels so, useless when you're sitting there, 3 members of the board are sitting in front of these people thinking they're going to get their day in court, and they're not getting their day in court because we have no movement to give them. We have to tell, there's what the state says, your income is over $60,000 now that you put your 401k in, you're out. And that's it. So we're trying to give some breaks here.
Thank you. Thank you, sir. Karen Hoffberger.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, Mr. Vice Chairman, and members of Budget and Tax Committee. First of all, I think we'd both like to thank our Senator Shelly Hedelman for taking this up in the Senate. Last year, we started just doing it in the House, and we did it for the whole state. And it was suggested by several members of the Ways and Means that we just specifically stick to Baltimore County, and that's why we're going in this direction. I wanted to be really clear about something. We're going to have to make sure when the county council does the enabling legislation, that people have to show that specifically that withdrawal from the IRA, that withdrawal with capital gains or an annuity or whatever is specifically going for these expenses. And we did have people who came in, and it was heart-wrenching. And I guess what was most upsetting was these are people generally, not all, but generally, who are seniors, who have worked their whole lives, who have bought homes, lived in the homes for 20, 30, 40 years, have gotten different tax credits, whatever. But now they're living on what they've saved, and we just tell them, oh, I'm sorry, you might lose your house now because you can't pay your property taxes. It feels like this is an unintended consequence, and you all wouldn't want your constituents to have to be in that kind of situation. So we're asking for a favorable report on 349. And if you have any questions, we'd be happy to answer them. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Appreciate your testimony. Tammy Bressenham.
Bressenham, yes, sir. Good afternoon, Mr. Chair and members of the Budget and Taxation Committee. First, I want to apologize. I have a head cold, so I am a little bit foggy. Anyway, we support Senate Bill 349. We thank Senator Hedelman for bringing this forward. Property tax can be burdensome to people that live on fixed incomes, and for them to have to borrow against their 401ks is least likely to have them age in place. We like the idea that the bill is flexible. My good friend Billy Chase brought this bill to my attention. We have a large membership in Baltimore County, and we like for the county to make sure that people know about the program and that it's easily accessible. Again, we thank Senator Hedelman for this bill and we ask you for a favorable report. Thank you.
Thank you. Siobhan McMillian. Sabrina Thompson. We got Kevin again and Devron again. Any questions for this panel from the committee? Okay, thank you all very much. We appreciate you coming out today.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you very much.
Okay, Senate Bill 369, Senator King.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman and members of the committee. Last year, we passed legislation to increase access to the Earned Income Tax Credit, EITC. And later in this session, Senator Rhodes Pep and I will be introducing legislation to expand on last year's work. Despite this expansion and despite outreach, education and free tax preparation is estimated that around 24% of Marylanders who are eligible for the EITC do not claim the credit. There are several reasons for the lack of participation, but key among those reasons is that people with very low incomes often don't earn enough to be required to file a tax return and may not be aware that they are missing out on refundable credits. Senate Bill 369 will require the Comptroller's Office to use readily available income and tax data from both the IRS and state tax systems to identify residents who are eligible for the EITC but did not file a state return or were eligible but did not claim the EITC on their return. The Comptroller's Office would then send those eligible residents a prepared tax return or amended return, which the resident would sign and return. The Comptroller's Office has been extremely helpful in helping develop this legislation, and we are working out an issue with them that arose after drafting the bill, so I'll most likely be offering a sponsor amendment in the next few days. And Mr. Chairman, we have worked very hard to help Maryland families, especially during this pandemic, and this legislation will be one more tool to assist our most vulnerable families, and I request a favorable report.
Thank you very much, Senator. Robin McKinney.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chair, members of the committee. Thank you so much for the opportunity to support Senate Bill 369. My name is Robin McKinney. I'm the co-founder and CEO for the CASH campaign of Maryland. CASH promotes economic advancement for low to moderate income individuals and families in Baltimore and across the state of Maryland. More than half of our tax clients earn less than $20,000, with many earning less than 10. We are in the business of free tax preparation. We do it all the time. And what we know is that we can't do it alone. Each year, there are still anywhere from 15 to 25% of folks that claim the EITC that are not getting it. And this is, as you all know, very important funds that can go into households to help them pay rent, childcare, food, and transportation. Just to help you understand a little bit of the scale of what we are up against as trying to do free tax preparation, last year in Baltimore City alone, we got 60,000 calls to fill 5,800 appointments. Even in a typical year, we can serve about 10,000 people in the city. So annually, we're serving about 25,000 people across the state, and there's more than 400,000 Marylanders that are getting the earned income tax credit. So we need to use technology. We need to use the information that we already have through the Comptroller's Office to really help those folks who are not filing on a regular basis or may have missed that they were eligible for the earned income tax credit. I also wanted to highlight that the paid tax preparation community is also not getting to these folks. These are typically back tax returns. Most people are really focused on the current year. So many tax preparers aren't doing back year tax returns. So it's important that we, again, build systems to make sure that people can maximize every single dollar. So with that, we urge a favorable report on Senate Bill 369.
Thank you, Callie Shumans.
Thank you, Chair Gazzoni, Vice Chair Rhodes Pep, and members of the committee. My name is Callie Shumans. I'm with the Maryland Center on Economic Policy here in support of Senate Bill 369. We've been before you many times talking about the ways that working family tax credits like the earned income tax credit benefit Maryland families. Research consistently shows that this is one of the most effective anti-poverty tools that we have. And as with other programs that reduce the experience of poverty, particularly childhood poverty, research links the EITC to a long range of long-term benefits for the families who receive it, like better health, greater success in school, higher earnings later in life. However, people only see these benefits if those who are eligible for the credit actually receive it. So we think this is a really important program to help more families receive the tax credits that they're eligible for. Because the EITC is such a powerful tool for increasing economic security for families, expanding the reach of the EITC strengthens the state economy because people who are living paycheck to paycheck are much more likely to quickly spend money they receive through a tax refund because they likely have a list of needs that they've been putting off because they can't afford it. And that means that money invested in the EITC ultimately supports our local businesses. There are estimates that show every dollar invested in the EITC generates an estimated $1.24 in economic activity. The 20 to 25% of eligible people in Maryland who are not claiming the EITC in a given year represents hundreds of millions of dollars in federal and state tax credits that could be going to Maryland families if people knew they were eligible and filed their tax returns. The program outlined in SB 369 still could have a very significant return in terms of better outcomes for thousands of families and increased economic activity for the state. And finally, I just mentioned I am also the co-chair of Marylanders Against Poverty, which also supports this bill and has submitted written testimony in support. So with that, I would ask for a favorable report on Senate Bill 369. Thank you.
Thank you. Latoya Williams. Patricia Neal. Got Siobhan and Kevin again. Okay, any questions for the center of this panel? All right, that concludes Senate Bill 369. Moving on to Senate Bill 383. Senator King, you're up again.
Here we go. Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the committee. In 2019, the legislature passed the Maryland Green Schools Act of 2019. The bill expanded and enhanced the Maryland Association for Environmental and Outdoor Education signature program called Maryland Green Schools. This nationally recognized program increases awareness and understanding of environmental interrelationships and promotes responsible environmental stewardship practices. The grant money that we passed in 2019 supports professional development, creates resources to help students get access to environmentally focused activities, supports school projects that incorporate environmental best practices, and increases environmental educators in the state. The grant was for 5 fiscal years beginning with FY 2021. Unfortunately, many of the programs planned for FY 21 and 22 were not able to be implemented due to COVID. Senate Bill 383 will simply extend the grant for 2 years so the intent of the original bill can be realized. The 2019 legislation was sponsored by Senate President Mike Miller, and in his testimony, he said, "Two of our most important jobs here are to provide a sound educational footing for our children and to ensure that their environment is protected for years to come." This legislation combines the two, providing resources for green schools in our state through an organization with proven success and with proven leadership. And I can't say it better than he did. So I respectfully report.
Thank you, Senator. Dan Curry.
Hi there, Senator. Mr. Chair, members of the committee, I strongly urge your support of Senate Bill 383. My school district, Calvert County Public Schools, was the first district in Maryland to achieve 100% Maryland Green School status. This was not only an honor, but a statement about the priorities of the school district. Now, I've been superintendent of Calvert County since July of 2014, and I was glad to discover the long-term investment and commitment my district was making in environmental education. Green schools, which have been chosen, our green schools are schools that have been chosen to maintain a healthy environment that can support a successful learning environment while saving energy and resources and money. And the Green School Drive has been pulsating through Calvert County schools since the inception of our environmental education program we call Chess Packs. Environmental education is important to our district, and our staff work closely with local, state, and regional partner agencies to provide hands-on environmental education experiences for our students, and I've participated in most of them, and they're a lot of fun. The Chesapeake Bay and Patuxent River and other natural settings serve as living laboratories for our students to use their science content and skills to learn to make responsible decisions regarding the environment we call home. The Maryland Association of Environmental Outdoor Education has been leading and managing the Maryland Green Schools program since 1999. We're proud to say that Calvert County was the first school district in Maryland where 100% of our schools are certified. Of those 24 schools, 11 of them have reached sustainable status. Queen Anne's County Public Schools joined us in 2020, and we would like to see other school districts achieve 100% green school status. The green school application process requires a dedicated person or a group of individuals with a passion to cultivate a green climate in their school. Our green school coordinators must enlist a team at the staff and student level to ensure each objective is met and that the school is successful. It requires a commitment from the entire community. The Green Schools Act makes a difference for school districts like ours, where we are committed to having all schools maintain their green school status. And to those school districts that would like to get there, there's no monetary award to become green, but those funds which go to teachers, schools, and partners throughout the state can strengthen programs and inspire new ones. And this will have a long-term consequence for our state. Our greatest motivation is teaching our students the importance of being good stewards of our environment for our future. We support this bill. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Elizabeth McCook.
Senator Gazzoni, Chair, Senator Rhodes Pep, Vice Chair, and members of the Budget and Taxation Committee. I strongly urge your support of Senate Bill 383, the Maryland Association of Environmental and Outdoor Education Grant, Funding and Evaluation Extension. My name is Beth McCook. I am currently a high school science teacher at Urbana High School in Frederick County, Maryland. I've been teaching in Maryland for the past 36 years, 23 of them here at Urbana. I'm an environmental science teacher and have come to know the value of providing students with learning opportunities that are real and relevant to their everyday lives. Environmental education is a fantastic way for students to see connections between the classroom and their surroundings, our environment. Several years ago, along with much support and guidance, my students started a composting program in our school cafeteria. Support from Mayo and community organizations have helped this grow into initiatives across the state. We need and appreciate the efforts by Mayo that helped and continue to help make this possible. We have since become a Maryland Green School and have started a green team at our school to support this project. Mayo and the Green School application process provided my students with the framework to improve and lessen our school's environmental impacts. It is critical that you continue to support Mayo and their efforts to strengthen environmental education and resources for schools and teachers. Our stable future depends on students having the knowledge, appreciation, and realization that they can make a difference with the choices they make. The Maryland Association of Environmental and Outdoor Educators, Mayo, recognizes the importance of their role as support for formal and informal environmental teachers in Maryland who have the same mission. Across the state, Maryland Green School teachers have used the environment as a lens for instruction. The cultures at these schools have shifted to improving levels of awareness, protection, and recognition of the fact that even one student can make a difference and can positively impact their surroundings and the quality of life in their homes and communities. Students who are a part of a Maryland Green School such as ours are exposed to many practices of sustainability firsthand. Being a part of that Maryland Green School Network allows teachers to share ideas and practices that create unique opportunities for our students. Empowerment of student ideas and the implementation of successful change-making projects leads to communities of adults who are interested and willing to make changes too. Supporting Mayo supports sustainable communities in our future. I believe in the impact of Maryland Green Schools, and I acknowledge and want you to know that this would not be possible without Mayo and their leadership. Thank you for the opportunity to share with you today.
Thank you very much. Javier Fuentes.
Dear Chairman, Vice Chair, and members of the Budget and Taxation Committee, I strongly urge your support of Senate Bill 383. My name is Javier Fuentes. I am a junior at Laurel High School here in Prince George's County. I am the president of the Green Club at my school, and we became a Maryland Green School in 2017 and have been recertified recently in 2021. I have been the Green Club president with an executive team, 2 faculty advisors, and around 50 students who show up regularly to meetings once a week. During COVID and online learning, we had many students attending meetings. Virtually, we participated in citizen science activities such as iNaturalist, initiated school-wide engagement in environmental projects like recycling materials through art, but we know we can do more. Transitioning out of the pandemic and into in-person learning gives me hope for what students and I can accomplish. Seeing students happy to attend meetings to recycle across the school and see them excited for the hands-on experience that they expect from the Green Club is what brings me here in support of extended funding for Mayo so that we can have more of these hands-on experiences. Supporting this bill means that student activities like field trips, students that not only boost student morale, but also improve students' environmental knowledge would happen across Maryland. The Green Club and Maryland Green Schools have connected me to other schools in Prince George's County and now across the state. Youth voice is important for the future of the environment, and the Mayo Youth Council has given me another outlet to bond with my peers and to be part of discussions, strategy, planning, and implementation of environmental work in our state. My community, friends, family, and Mayo have all given me courage to lead. Our future needs more students to be involved at school and in the community. The work that Mayo is doing helps students like me have the tools equipped to build a sustainable life for ourselves and others. This is why I support and urge a favorable report on this bill. Thank you for your time.
Thank you very much. And again, we have Eduardo, Kevin, and Patricia Neal. Okay. Any questions for this panel? Thank you all for your testimony. We appreciate you being here. Now we're moving on to Senate Bill 391. We have Kiefer, Kiefer Mitchell with the governor's office.
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman. Also, I should have Jake Whitaker and Secretary Gill also.
Great. Kick her off.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman and members of the Budget and Tax Committee. For the record, I'm Kiefer Mitchell, Chief Legislative Officer for the Governor. I'll be very brief. I'm here to testify in support of Senate Bill 391. This legislation will continue the successful More Jobs for Marylanders program through 2027. This program helps create new manufacturing jobs, increases capital investment, and provides specific incentives to create manufacturing jobs in vulnerable and underserved communities. In just the first few years since the More Jobs for Maryland program started, the program has already created thousands of manufacturing jobs. Before Governor Hogan took office, Maryland had one of the slowest growing manufacturing industries in the nation. Maryland is no longer losing manufacturing jobs, and thanks to the More Jobs for Marylanders program, it has one of the fastest growing manufacturing. It is one of the fastest growing manufacturing sectors in the nation. For these reasons, I will respectfully ask for a favorable report on Senate Bill 391, and I will now turn it over to my colleague Jake Whitaker of the Governor's Office.
Very good.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, Mr. Vice Chair, members of the committee. My name is Jake Whitaker with the Governor's Legislative Office here to testify in support of Senate Bill 391. The More Jobs for Marylanders program has already created 3,000 high-paying manufacturing jobs here in Maryland. Additionally, these jobs are high-paying because they have an average salary of over $65,000 a year. MJM has also provided over $14 million in tax relief to businesses when they've needed it the most. Overall, this program has created more than $400 million of indirect economic activity across the state. If this bill were to be passed, the MJM program will continue to create high-paying manufacturing jobs and will spur economic growth for years to come. For the aforementioned reasons, we respectfully ask for a favorable report on Senate Bill 391. And if okay with you, Mr. Chair, we'd like to turn it over to Secretary Gill.
Great, thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Mr. Secretary, you there?
Sorry about that, Chairman.
All good. Good to see you.
You could see my lips moving, couldn't you? Chairman Gazzoni and Vice Chairman Rhodes Pep, thank you. Thank you for giving us a few minutes this afternoon to testify on behalf of Senate Bill 391. I'm Mike Gill, second time around, Chairman of Commerce, or Secretary of Commerce, and extremely glad to be back here. Jake and Kiefer both shared a bunch of numbers, and I'm going to share a couple, but I'm just going to give you some of my impressions as it relates to more jobs for Maryland and its importance. I mean, we have heard the number. It sticks out that 30% greater pay in the manufacturing sector than our other sectors of the economy. Our pipeline, this is only the bill got passed, I think, in 17, but this is only the third year of where we've really been able to get out in the marketplace, and through our regional reps and our business development folks really promote and sell and tell the story of more jobs for Marylanders and its attractiveness to not only bring new business to Maryland, but to retain and expand business with other Maryland-based companies. We have a lot of activity in the pipeline. Jake referred to it, nearly 11,000 new jobs in the pipeline, which could represent over $4 billion in CapEx of these companies. I call those opportunity dollars because they're in the pipeline just means that they represent something very potentially positive for our program. What I love about the jobs themselves, though, is it's great to think of 30% more pay for a particular sector than others. But at the end of the day, I think it really represents a better life for these individuals that choose a manufacturing opportunity. I was out at Trade Point yesterday. I was part of the BMW kickoff, and what's interesting at Trade Point today, in the last 5 years, they've introduced so many new of the big guys like FedEx and Amazon and Under Armour and the others, and now they have about half a dozen significant advanced manufacturing companies in the pipeline. So that's a very interesting adjustment in the product mix and the industry mix for Trade Point Atlantic. I think I would summarize MJM this way. To date, it's doing what we had hoped. It's growing jobs in advanced manufacturing. It's growing the tax base along with it. And it's attracting new companies and retaining and expanding existing companies' footprints in the state of Maryland. Extending the program will really allow for us to continue all the progress that's been made to date in a relatively short period of time. So I'd ask all of you to support Senate Bill 391. And thank you, Chairman. Thank you, Vice Chairman, for letting me to share my remarks. And we're open for any and all questions.
Mr. Secretary, you didn't have anybody else from your departments you wanted to speak, did you?
No, this is the starting lineup, Chairman.
Okay, I just had somebody else listed here. Okay, and again, we have Eduardo, Kevin, and actually I have Andrea King. I know you have a question, Senator. We'll get back to you in a second. Is Andrea King there?
No.
Okay, Senator Edwards, you have a question?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I guess this kind of goes to Kiefer since he started this off. He's still on here. In his commentary, he mentioned this is for the vulnerable and the underserved. What's the definition of that? I hear all these good things are going on right in the metropolitan area and all these companies at Trade Point, et cetera. Does this give some at least little boost to rural parts of the state who have tried and tried and tried to attract manufacturing or businesses to their neck of the woods? I'm not sure in District 1 that we have anything in the pipeline at this point. Could be, but I'm not totally aware of.
Thank you, Senator, for the question. And I guess the simple answer is, of course it does. It encompasses all jurisdictions of our state, and notwithstanding your District 1. I will turn it over to Secretary Gill or Jake, who can talk specifically more about some of the distressed counties, provisions in our laws and everything like that help spur this type of economic activity, if they have an answer to that. But the short answer, Senator Edwards, is that yes, it does.
Yeah, I did want to mention, Senator Edwards, that Ring Container right now is not only certified, but they're receiving benefits from the MJM program. They've got about 30 jobs in the pipeline currently. And then a larger enterprise, Mack Truck. Mack Truck is also, at this point in time, they're receiving some benefits for about 20 jobs, and they've got another 50 or so projected. So the program is, it's I mean, you and I going back to the beginning, because I hadn't been in the job very long, and you explained to me, Mike, there's a part of the state also called rural Maryland, and the program was designed for Tier 1 and Tier 2 with a lot of rich benefits for those companies that were in those areas or would come to those areas for the tax credits. So it is an equal opportunity tax credit.
Well, the ones you mentioned are a little east of where I'm talking about.
Yep.
I think they're both in Washington County, or at least I know one of them is. But up in the mountains, I've elaborated on this before. I don't want to beat on everybody, but it would be nice if we could get a little extra oomph for further out west and on shore, lower eastern shore, where you got Somerset. It's got some economic problems, to help attract your department to actively pursue companies to come out our way or that way. Be very helpful, and I hope that when you settle in, you'll work on those kind of things like you did when you were first here. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
No. Thank you, Senator. I saw you nod, Natty. I agree.
Senator Rhodes Pep.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And
We're getting a bunch of feedback. If some people can go mute if they're not actually in the conversation.
Mr. Secretary, it's good to see you back in the saddle. Not much sense of adventure, but it's always good to be working with you. So welcome back. I want to ask about one provision of the existing law that you may not have focused on, and maybe this is more an issue for Kiefer or for Jake. But one provision of the law, when we passed it in 2016, directed the Division of Workforce at the Department of Labor to work with state departments to identify opportunities to create registered apprenticeships to help address career workforce needs in state departments. And as part of that, to identify opportunities to create those programs with goals for the numbers of apprenticeships registered in a year to help address career workforce needs in the state. Obviously, that's a very topical issue right now because we have these vacancies all over state government. And I wondered if someone could get back to us with the results of that study that was to be done in 2017.
We'll get back to you, Senator, and I know that someone from one of our deputy legislative officers in our offices tried to reach out to your office to try to schedule something with you. So
great, we'll do it.
We'll follow up.
Thank you very, very much. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thanks, Jim.
Senator Alfred.
Thank you so much, Mr. Chair. Mr. Secretary, so good to see you, fellow Towson Tiger.
Hello, Sarah.
I think we all we all agree manufacturing is an incredible, important sector that we need to grow. I just quick look through the fiscal note, though. It does mention that to date, the program has mostly benefited established larger corporations. And I would just feel more comfortable if your office could maybe get this committee some greater information on additive, how this program has added new manufacturing jobs or the ones that you have in the pipeline. I just want to make sure this is a value add moving forward.
No, thank you. And we'll put that together. I've got some of that data now, but let us put it together in a more organized fashion so that you have it in front of you.
Thank you so much.
Because we do have a number of them, Senator, that were on the attraction side versus retention expansion side.
Perfect.
Yeah, we'll be sure to. Thank you.
Okay. Thanks, Mr. Chair.
Right. It was the Board of Regents where I had the chance to meet you and Senator Rhodes Pep. Holy cow.
Senator Eckert.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman, and thank you, Mr. Secretary, for being here. I am going to follow up on my colleague from the Western Maryland. First of all, this bill, as I understand, was expanded to include not just manufacturing, but other business development. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, and yet when I look at the fiscal note, 80% I think has been awarded in the tier 2 areas, right?
Yeah. Tier 1 areas include opportunity zones.
No, but most of the awardees where the money has gone has been to the tier 2 areas. According to the fiscal note, as I read it, right?
Hi, Secretary. Can you all hear me?
Yes.
Okay.
Hi, I'm Lonnie Sinfield. I'm the program manager for the tax incentives group, and I work with Secretary Gill. You are absolutely correct, Senator. Currently, most of the companies that have progressed the farthest come from the tier 2 areas, although we have several other projects in the pipeline that have received initial certificates or have been reserved credits in tier 1 areas. I think much like any economic development project, it takes time to develop your pipeline and to attract businesses to those regions of the state. But certainly, as Secretary Gill had mentioned before, we could put together information that show where exactly the businesses are that have expressed interest in the program and where there are currently.
Well, I guess it's a broader point about the tiers, because one of the things that I've encountered recently, we would like to reestablish oyster shucking and kind of revigorate that industry. But when those businesses apply for any kind of business assistance, they are not in any of the tiers, not even tier 1, because of their location. And so I'm just raising this to you as something to think about. Because we do have opportunity zones, but if you're in, let's say, Madison, and you're refurbishing one of the historic crab shucking operations, and you're going to be hiring people, creating jobs, you fall outside of that. And I'm just asking, there are small businesses that are outside of the opportunity zone and don't fall into any of these tiers to even begin to qualify for the kind of assistance that they would need to reestablish businesses and create jobs in those areas. So I'm raising
Yeah.
it, I guess it's a broader issue because on the Eastern Shore, much like the very far west, because we are so, I guess, remote or have areas that are so far away from the hubs, that does create a financial disincentive. And I think it contributes to the overall lower income in those areas. Just something to think about moving forward and see if there's any way we can provide, if we're going to provide more jobs for all Marylanders, I'd like to see our hinterland somehow included.
Yeah. Yep. I think you make a great point, Senator, and we'll definitely follow up on that. Absolutely.
Great, thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Yep.
Okay. Any other questions for this panel? All right, that concludes the hearing on 391. We'll move on to 337. Mr. Huff? Motor fuel tax rates?
Yes, thank you very much, Mr. Chair, members of the committee. This is a simple bill. In 2013, I was actually here in a member of the House at the time when we passed the gas tax. Actually, I didn't pass it, but it passed General Assembly, the gas tax increase. It also called for an ongoing increase, as you all are probably familiar with, tied to inflation, the consumer price index, basically in perpetuity. So no matter what, it didn't take another vote of us, and there will continue to be a tax increase, which I found very troubling at the time. And I rethought of this provision recently because there's two things that are happening. One, inflation is now at the highest level that it's been in the last 40 years, so almost in my lifetime. In fact, at 7%, it's almost reaching the current cap in the law for the maximum amount. And you've got gas prices, which are the highest they've been in 7 years. So those two factors combined reminded me that, yes, Maryland will again be automatically increasing the gas tax, despite the gas being at a 7-year high and at a rate of inflation that we haven't seen in 40 years. And so just doing some math, in the state of Maryland, the price of gasoline is up 75 cents per gallon. I added that up, and for my family, that's going to be over $100 a month just in gas prices. And you got to remember the price of gasoline inflation affects everything else at the grocery store. Everything's going to be affected by this increase. So what I think this legislation does is what we should have done in the first place. If people want to vote to raise the gas tax, they should actually vote to raise the gas tax. We shouldn't just have an automatic gas tax increase that's in place every single year, doesn't require a vote. That's a bad policy. And I think we're seeing it now, and we're reminding people that we have this provision in law that's going to put this in place. And just for note, according to the Tax Foundation, only 2 other states tie their gas tax to CPI, Florida and New Hampshire. Massachusetts and Maine had that same provision, and they actually repealed it. So for those reasons, I would ask that we repeal this provision. And if we do nothing, again, I'm not asking us to cut taxes. This isn't a tax cut bill. It's just to stop a gas tax increase. And without this passing, there'll be a $37 million tax increase in FY23 on Marylanders, which will go up to, if you look at the fiscal note, 2027 up to $117 million tax increase. So this is not cutting or taking away money. This is just stopping a gas tax increase. And if the Senate and the General Assembly wants to increase the gas tax again, then they should vote on it. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator. I don't have anyone signed up for this. Are there any questions for the Senator? Okay, thank you very much. Next up, Senate Bill 403. And Caitlin Marsden Sweeten. Oh, I'm sorry. Did you have a question, Senator Zucker?
I did, but I don't know if Senator Huff is still on.
Apologize. Sorry I missed you.
Okay.
Okay. On to 403. Caitlin?
Good afternoon, Chair Gazzoni, Vice Chair Rhodes Pep, and members of the Senate Budget and Taxation Committee. For the record, my name is Caitlin Marsden Sweeten, and I'm here on behalf of the Governor's Legislative Office in support of Senate Bill 403. I'm also joined today by Corbett Webb, the Deputy Director of the State Department of Assessments and Taxation, or SDAT as you all might know it. 7 years ago, Governor Hogan set out on a mission to make Maryland more competitive with its neighbors, state government more responsive, and to provide tax relief for families and small businesses. Senate Bill 403 does just that by eliminating the annual business filing fee for hardworking Maryland employers who choose to file their annual reports electronically. Currently, these annual fees range from $100 up to $300, making Maryland one of the most expensive states in the country to do business in. Some might say that $300 a year is a small fee, but for a business who has no revenue, the single member LLC, or the small business that is barely scraping by, this extra $300 expenditure may be the straw that breaks the camel's back. $300 might be what it takes to help these small businesses get their foot in the door, retain more much needed capital, and for a Marylander to live out their entrepreneurial dream. Not only does Senate Bill 403 provide much needed relief to our Maryland businesses after 2 especially difficult years, but it will create a more streamlined filing experience for customers working with SDAT. By directing filers to the award-winning Maryland Business Express portal, customers will experience no delays and immediately stay or return to good standing status. Since 2016, when Governor Hogan first introduced this legislation, dozens of similar bills have been introduced, all with the same goal of relieving the unnecessary burdens on our small businesses. And each year we get a little bit closer to that goal. Senate Bill 403 accomplishes this goal by eliminating this fee for the nearly 350,000 businesses registered in the state. This bill will also make Maryland the first state in the country to provide a zero fee option for all businesses for this type of filing. For these reasons, the administration respectfully requests a favorable report on Senate Bill 403. And with that, I'm happy to take any questions you may have.
Thank you. Corbett Webb.
Our department submitted written testimony, and I'll defer to that in Caitlin's summary, and then the people who are here to support it afterwards, but also happy to take any questions the committee may have.
Okay, Maddie Whitaker.
Good afternoon, honorable members of the committee. My name is Maddie Whitaker. I'm here on behalf of the Maryland Chamber of Commerce in support of this legislation. The Chamber has submitted written testimony, but I did just want to reiterate it to the committee. We think this is an excellent piece of legislation. Like I said, like Kate said, these fees range. They're some of the highest in the nation. By eliminating this, we'll put Maryland at a competitive advantage. It'll attract businesses. It'll do a whole lot for the current businesses in the state. And, you know, I know a lot of people think that $300 isn't a whole lot, but for small and medium-sized businesses, they can do a whole lot with that kind of money. So I thank you for your time, and let me know if you have any questions.
Thank you. Mike O'Halloran.
Yes, sir. Good afternoon, Mr. Chairman, members of the Budget and Taxation Committee. For the record, I am Mike O'Halloran, representing NFIB in Maryland, to offer our full support for Senate Bill 403, legislation that will remove the $300 fee small businesses must pay when filing their annual report with SDAT electronically. You know, look, this idea is not new to the committee or the General Assembly, but it is an idea which our members believe the time has come. As members of B&T, you all are aware more than most the solid financial footing the state finds itself. Small businesses, while slowly making progress, by and large do not share such a rosy financial outlook. That is why any relief like that of Senate Bill 403 would be welcome news. If nothing else, it sends a positive message to our job creators that when they incorporate here in Maryland, the first thing to greet them will no longer be a $300 fee. I appreciate the committee's time and respectfully request a favorable report for Senate Bill 403. Thank you.
Thank you. Clade Baker. Kizzy Nkodia. April Harrison. Alfonso Albright. Vi Tran. It's Shibia Patel. Dr. Corbin Smith. William Long. Beverly Bai.
William Long is here. I don't know why he's not.
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay.
Okay, Mr. Long, welcome.
Hi, I just wanted to testify in support of the bill. Being a business owner for over 50 years in the state of Maryland, I do own 2 LLCs, and I just find that the $300 filing fee every year for each one is just burdensome, and I just really don't see why it's necessary. If you figure out how many years I've been paying this, it's been quite a bit of money since I have to pay that every year. I can see maybe a one-time fee for businesses, but not every single year. And I just am very much in support of this bill.
Okay, well, thank you for your testimony.
Thank you.
Beverly Bai. Ahab Rabba. Donna Vetters.
I am here.
Great, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you to you, Mr. Chairman, and the members of this committee for allowing me to give testimony today in support of Senate Bill 0403. My name is Donna Vetters, and I'm a small business owner from and in Baltimore County. I wanted to give testimony today to represent the small businesses in Maryland that have been struggling to stay afloat for the past 2 years, as well as before that. Our clients may have moved to other bigger companies that provide the same services at cheaper rates. They may have elected to go to a mall rather than a storefront, or shop online from retailers which we can't compete in supply, demand, and costs. Of course, the pandemic has also hurt local small businesses in the state. Paying $300 per year to file my annual report is just another expense that is difficult to rationalize in a questionable economy. If you are the owner of a small business in Maryland that doesn't have inventory or very little personal business property, this filing fee to SDOT really isn't needed. For example, my business is a home-operated LLC engaged in the industry of medical billing and consulting. The only business equipment that I have and are responsible for are computers and printers. I pay $300 to file my business tangible personal property Form 1 annually and generally online. After that filing, Baltimore County assesses a tax based on what equipment I purchase or depreciated in the tax year. Tax payments that I have made to Baltimore County since 2013 are generally $30 or less. For the 2020 tax year, I actually paid $27.22 to the county. To me, my filing fee versus my taxes are grossly disparate. If you think about this, it makes little sense to pay $300 to sign up to pay less than $30 at the county level. I do understand that each small business is different, but we all at this point do need some relief. I'm hoping some additional folks, like the previous speaker, that are here to give testimony today regarding this bill can also give you examples from their perspective. Again, I thank you for your time to let me share my experience in support of Senate Bill 0403, and I'm happy to answer any questions the chairman or the committee may have.
Thank you very much. And I'll ask, since we're going through these pretty quickly, if does anybody have questions at this point for any of the witnesses thus far? Okay. Erica Campbell was next. Tamira Lucas. Gary Johnson.
My name is Jerry Garson, and I'm speaking on behalf of S. Bill 403. I run a small consulting business, and we've seen many people not wanting to incorporate in Maryland because of the fee. Montgomery County has seen very little economic growth in the last 10 years. The passage of this bill will help more small businesses start in Maryland with the elimination of the $300 annual fee. Over 20 years, you'll pay $6,000 in this type of fee. Anything Maryland can do to reduce the fees that small businesses pay will encourage the formation of additional businesses in the state. Corporations and LLC pay taxes on the net income of the individual's tax return to the comptroller's office. This will only reduce the $300 fee paid to the Department of Assessments and Taxation. By reducing this $300 fee to the Department of Assessments and Taxation in many counties and the state, you'll add an additional $30 in revenue to the comptroller's office. So there's only a net loss of about $270 to the state of Maryland. Thank you for your time.
Thank you for your testimony. Jeffrey Clark. Rolanda Burnett. Beverly Barham.
I'm here. I'm Beverly Barham. I'm a Maryland resident. I'm a CPA, and I am a small business owner here in Maryland. I own a CPA firm in Lutherville, and I specialize in doing taxes for small and mid-sized businesses, many of whom are also located here in Maryland. We as tax practitioners prepare a large number of the annual filings for Maryland businesses, and we would prefer to file electronically, just as we file all the rest of our taxpayers' forms electronically. However, the SDAT's website-based system is not a true e-file in terms of the way that normal e-filing is set up. And so it creates some logistical obstacles for us as tax practitioners to be able to use the website system, especially if you have a large number of business filers that you need to do this for. I am in favor of waiving the fee, whether or not you e-file, and I'm in favor of waiving the fee not only because it would be a benefit to businesses, but also because I think that it could create a situation to allow SDAT to improve the website system in order to remove some of those obstacles. I think the payment fee aspect creates a difficulty for SDAT to make some improvements to the system. I believe that if there's nothing currently in the bill that SDAT has to change the system at all and make it easier for the tax practitioner that would be utilizing it more. Ideally, we'd like to see that the state enhance their side of the system for a true e-filing where our software can submit the forms electronically directly to them. That may be a pie in the sky wish. Absent that ideal, there's still some very simple basic things that SDAT could do that would make the logistics easier for a practitioner to be able to submit more of these filings over their system. Allowing the practitioner to directly submit the filing in their role as the paid preparer without the taxpayer needing to log in. Create a signature form that the practitioner can have the taxpayer representative sign so that we have approval to submit the filing on their behalf, just the same as we do with all other e-filed forms, federal and Maryland. Maryland already has an e-file authorization form in place for the comptroller's office. It's not like it's difficult. Allow the preparers to print a complete unwatermarked copy of the filing prior to submission so that we can give it to taxpayers for approval and have them have a copy to keep for their records. and the ability to set up or pro forma the data ahead of time so that we're not doing it in the midst of tax season, because the first year we go to moving to this system is going to take a lot of time to set up our clients. When you're doing it for yourself, 1 or 2 businesses, it's not a lot of time. When you're doing it for 100, 200, or 300, the time adds up, and for a practitioner to do it, it's very substantial.
Thank you. Senator Alford, you have a question?
I do, Mr. Chair, for SSTAT, if that's appropriate.
Sure.
Okay. Thank you, Ms. Barham. I couldn't agree more that we all want government to be more user-friendly and solutions-oriented. So I guess my question for Mr. Webb is, does SSTAT have any plans to integrate many more of these systems and make it easier to actually pay various fees and taxes?
Good afternoon, Senator. Thank you for the question. Thank you for all the business owners who have testified as well. I wrote down all 3 of those ideas. We've met with the Maryland Association of CPAs and other CPA organizations in the past. I think all those are good ideas. It just matters, where they fit into our pipeline of developments coming up. I think we've done 18 developments in the past year, so it's a pretty packed list. But those are great ideas, and we'll absolutely consider them.
Thank you.
Well,
Thank you.
If I can comment, I've been one of those MACPA liaison
I thought I
people
recognized
that
the
go
name.
every single year and make these suggestions every single year, because we, even with the payment system, we still would rather e-file the forms, and in mass, we are not using your system because of these obstacles. And so we would be e-filing more, which would be better for the state, with or without the filing fee, if the system were logistically more usable for the practitioner community, which would be better for the state, with or without this legislation.
Okay.
Well, and Ms.
Senator
Barham,
Senator Salling has a
I remember meeting with you right at the end of 2019 on Utah Street and some other CPAs. I will say that COVID has thrown us off track of those plans, but we're happy to get back to them, and I'll reach out to you after this hearing.
Okay, Senator Salling has a question.
Yeah, real quick. Thank you, Mr. Chair. Whoever can answer this, I know you have 2 different types of way to file, online or paper, but which one is more expensive? I mean, because unless, I'm sorry if you already answered that, but if I get a good answer on that, please. Thank you.
Sure, I can take that one. So right now it's $300 to file via paper and $309 to file online. So currently it is more expensive to file online, which I'm sure deters some folks. So obviously with this legislation, we're decreasing that $309 fee to 0, which will hopefully incentivize more people. And obviously that will be better operationally from the department, as it is a little bit more complex for them to file paper filings. So all in all, this bill will help to streamline that process and obviously help our small businesses.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you.
Okay, clearly, Mr. Webb, you need to get together again with Ms. Barham and hopefully make a little progress. That would be great. All right. Next up, Joanne Schneider.
Thank you very much for giving me the time to testify, Mr. Chairman and members. I am the owner of Chrysalis Collaborations, which is a small consulting firm. I'm an MDOT registered MBE, DBE, and located in Baltimore County. And Donna, yeah, I agree with you on those fees. So this bill, this tax has been is very problematic in a number of ways. And frankly, I've watched since I started this business in 2015 and advocated for it to go away, particularly for small businesses. But I've also watched it go down, legislation like this go down every year because everybody says, oh, revenue, we need the revenue. I think you need to think about the fairness of this whole thing and the impact on small businesses. First of all, I would advocate, not in this bill, but in the next one, hopefully this will pass, eliminating personal property taxes on any business with assets of less than $15,000 and gross income of less than $200,000. The reason for that is not just helping us, but frankly, helping you. As Donna outlined, the taxes themselves are often less than $30, less than $100. I don't think I've paid more than $50. And if you think about it, it costs the county and the state far more than that and that $300 fee to process those. So you might want to think about whether this is really any revenue at all or just more burden for counties. The other thing I want to talk about is what that fee really means. I started this as a person who was one of the many put out of work after the 2008 recession, and nobody hires somebody over the age of X. And I'm also disabled, which meant that the equipment that I was using, I've been consulting for many years, but not as an incorporated business on the side along with other jobs. But my equipment was all completely depreciated long time ago on the federal forms, and all of the furniture and so on, except for the equipment that was bought for me by the Division of Vocational Rehabilitation, AKA DOORS, and actually belonged to the state. I'm being taxed at 25% of the original value of my furniture and equipment every year.
Please wrap up.
Plus the cost of the stuff for DOORS. So think about that. Is that fair? What does that $300 mean? Let me tell you. The first year, I made $3,000. I used the last of my savings to pay that fee. The second year, I missed a utility payment to pay it. The last couple of years, when everything's been put on hold in the pandemic, have been interesting. It's been paid every year because you can't do business in Maryland without it. But it is a true hardship for anybody small. So on that note, if anybody has any questions, I'll be glad to answer them. I know we're over time, and thank you very much for your time. I really hope that you will do everything in your power to get this passed and out of this committee and passed by this year.
Thank you. Appreciate you taking the time to testify. Lakshima Belively, I apologize. A hard time getting that one out. If you're there. Okay. Shanta Harris. Antonio Price. Atwan Khan. Michael Pryrunsky. Chris Majetti.
Yes, I'm here.
Okay.
Thank you very much for taking my call, Mr. Chairman, and all the members of the committee. I just want to say that I'm obviously highly in favor of this Senate Bill 403 to eliminate the $300 fee for the registering of the businesses. As a small business owner, as a sole proprietor, that $300 could go right back into my business. And as someone who drives to all of his clients, and with the gas prices being elevated now, that is somewhere in the neighborhood of 1 to 2 months of gas money right there that could go right back in. And so because of that, and also just with other expenses that go along with being a small business owner, this would be just a huge benefit. And I echo all my other fellow small business owners that this would be great legislation, even amidst what's been going on the last couple of years with the lockdown in 2020 and everything else. Small businesses have rose in the state of Maryland. I believe there are over 462,000. I think that's what I saw on the website recently. And so I think more legislation like this that will cut costs for small businesses will only help to bring more businesses into this state, and which of course will generate more revenue for for the state and of course for its citizens. So as I think it would be a wonderful bill to pass. And so I thank you all very much for your time.
Thank you very much. Rajesh Kaur Yarmala. Chuck Perry. Adira Ashet.
Salmiel.
Thank you. You saved
Good
me.
afternoon. Yes, good afternoon, Mr. Chair, and to all the members of the Budget and Taxation Committee. I'm so pleased and honored that you would hear my testimony in support of SB 403. And I'd also like to just shout out all of my fellow business owners who have really taken the time to be here. So I have started in July 2020, right in the middle of the pandemic, an educational support company called Ujuzi Curriculum Consultants. And so in a time when I was in need of income myself, I thought, let me put to use my expertise as an educator and homeschooling parent of over 20 years. Let me put together an organization that can provide support for educators as well as other homeschooling families to make it through this really challenging time. And so we've set out to do that. We've been committed to providing support through online classes as well as workshops, and they have been going really well. We've seen in 2020 alone, 2021, a 300% increase in terms of the students that are taking our classes. And some of the things that we've done, we've hosted virtual science fairs in collaboration with scientists and astronomers from NASA. One of our favorite courses, Finding the Hero in You, encourages activism through comics. And so we are committed to providing quality service for our students and for our educators. However, we continue to operate at a loss because of and things like these requirements with these filing fees through the government. And so we would love, again, for this filing fee to be waived. That $300 that I paid last year, for example, that could have gone to enhancing my website so that more people can know that we're here to provide support. It could also maybe have gone to provide a stipend for a volunteer intern to help with grading student assignments. And so that $300 definitely, can make a difference for my business. And in a nutshell, I know that I'm working tirelessly, just as my fellow business owners are, to provide a solid structure for my business where there's steady income and increasing in revenue. However, with filing fees such as this, the $300, it just feels like the foundation is being weakened. And so I encourage the committee to support Bill 403, pass it so that we can continue to have the growth that we as business owners would love to have in the state of Maryland. Thank you so much again for your time and for the opportunity to hear my testimony.
Thank you. Adipishi Debowa. Alicia Brandt. Marilyn Steele. Shay Johnson. Joseph Zaccaro. Joseph Anderson. Mary Brummet. Timothy Teen.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, it's Timothy Tenney, and good afternoon. Good afternoon, Mr. Chairman, members of the committee. Thank you for allowing me a chance to testify today in favor of the committee supporting SB 403 and reducing or eliminating the fees in conjunction with the annual filing requirement for small businesses. Given the processing has minimal impact on state resources, especially as we've been portrayed that if we can upgrade this to electronic processing, the elimination of the exorbitant annual fee would encourage small business formation operations in our great state of Maryland. just a small percentage of businesses that would be formed within an annual period would far outweigh their business taxes and income taxes versus the $300 filing fee. So I respectfully request the committee, as a small business owner, fully consider and vote in favor and passage of the bill. Thank you very much for your time this afternoon.
Thank you very much. Christopher Jones. Albert Tasker. Alabesh Gitalan. No, here's Eduardo again. Maybe this is the right one. Are you there? Okay. Sharon Stromberg.
Yes, good afternoon,
Hi.
Chairman
How are
and
you?
members of the committee. I would like to point out that part of the reason we've had such response on this particular bill is that the invitation went out through the SDAT website. I'm a web and database programmer, and I can vouch for the fact that electronic communications get results. So the fact, all of these names of people who were not able to stay for up to 2 hours in some cases to speak to this bill, you can multiply what was said by that factor. And again, note that the SDAT process is effective because we all deal with it. And when we got this invitation to file, this many people responded. So as I mentioned, I'm a web and database programmer, and my specialty is online reporting. I can vouch for the fact that online reporting, such as this particular filing, results in significant savings. And as was pointed out earlier, you really want people to report online, and charging $309 to do it is counterproductive. I believe that the state would be well served by eliminating this fee, because the more people who file electronically, the more you will save. The same goes for those little tiny tax filings, as one of the previous speakers mentioned, that little tiny tax filings cost more to process than they do than the revenue justifies. So I appreciate the chance to speak to this. I point out that encouraging more people to file electronically will actually save the state money. All of us are in favor of not having to pay the fee, but this is a situation where the more people who file electronically, the more the state will save and be able to continue to put revenue into improving the SDAT processing. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Ann Smith.
Hello, this is Ann Smith, and I'd like to thank you, Chairman and members of the committee. Can you all hear me okay?
We can.
Okay, excellent. As I said, my name is Ann Smith. I'm the owner of Travel and Events Extraordinaire, which is an LLC, and I also am co-owner of another LLC. I am a part of the travel and events industries, both of which have been decimated by this pandemic. And economists have said that it's going to be until 2026 or 7 before we start to get back to our original numbers that we had pre-pandemic. What does that look like for me as a small business owner? That's an LLC, single member, and home-based. That looks like $300 that I could put somewhere else versus onto this fee. I would appreciate this fee being removed so that small businesses like myself can survive this pandemic. I represent probably over 200 or 300 travel professionals alone, not even counting my counterparts that are event planners that are struggling to maintain their businesses. And if it's a matter of paying $300 versus trying to pay some other needed bill, it would behoove us to make sure that this is not something that trips us up. Also, because we are travel professionals, we are paid commissions, and we're not guaranteed those commissions until our clients travel. And with COVID-19 spikes and anything else that makes people scared to travel is going to further hinder my income and the income of my my fellow travel professionals. So I hope that you hear my heart that this is something that we really need to get rid of. It's not doing us any service. We're not receiving any services for the $300 that we're paying. In fact, we're actually being double taxed if I understand it correctly, because if I purchase something for my business, I pay a sales tax. And then on top of that, I pay an additional tax for the personal property. So I'm not quite sure why that is. And as I've heard from my other compadres that have spoken before me, I think that this would be a great service for Maryland to eradicate this and set the trend to be the first state to do so. Thank you for listening to me, everybody.
Thank you very much. Senator Stalling.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I just thought about this question, maybe the administration can ask, that if a business doesn't make revenue or make money, do they still have to pay this? They still have to pay when they don't make any money. Okay. Thank you.
Okay. Brandon James. Chiara Miles.
Hello, Mr. Chairman. Can you hear me okay?
I can.
Okay, great.
Welcome.
Good afternoon. Thank you. Good afternoon, Mr. Chairman and members of the committee. My name is Sierra Miles. I'm the owner operator of 3C Freelance, which is a freelance paralegal business who is committed to serving and educating the low income in Baltimore City and throughout the state of Maryland. One thing I wanted to mention, the question that just was raised by the senator, yes, we do still pay the fee whether you make a revenue or not. And as far as one of my points that I wanted to express, not to reiterate what has already been said, is I've watched so many businesses forfeit or close due to that. Every year that you do not pay your fee, for you to get your name back and your LLC back, you have to pay the total amount of years missed, which is undue burdensome to other business owners such as myself. I am a single member LLC as well as a minority owned, woman owned. One of the things I take pride in as a business owner is charging clients flat rates and bridging that gap for resources that constituents of Baltimore City do not have, as far as helping them to maneuver and help themselves throughout the judicial system. $300 goes a long way in my business as far as printing supplies, toners, and being able to keep those flat rates for my clients to be sure that they can afford the services that they need, just getting them through the court processes or helping them with document contracts, and also things such as this, becoming a small business owner and helping them form their business, do their business filings and so forth. You know, things that come easy to me and other small business constituents. To a person that has a dream, it's very burdensome to continue to remain educated and doing these filings, and also to stay in business as a small business. So one of the things I ask that I am in favor of this bill, this will allow for us to stay afloat during these trying times, as well as it will assist in, to me, gearing the resources that are currently used in paper filings. It will help to also streamline the processes that SDAT are trying to bring down the pipeline and so forth. Because if you tell us to file online and that you'll waive the fee, I guarantee you, as one of the other small businesses said, we will be geared towards that. So I ask everyone that you honor these requests today and support our favorable decision for this Senate bill. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Jeanette Sessi. Ashley Yarborough. Tishonia Blackwell. Jesse McSwain Gardner. Patrick McKinnis. Larisha Brown, Melissa Jakes, Julie Verratti, Susan Downs, Tom Zielinski,
Yes, I'm right here.
hi, Mr. Zielinski.
Hello, hi. Yes, good afternoon, Mr. Chairman, and thank you all for the opportunity to testify on this Maryland Senate Bill 403. My name is Tom Zielinski, and I'm a self-employed small business owner who has worked in Maryland since 1993, both as a licensed home improvement contractor and as a licensed home inspector. And this filing fee, as you know, for the business annual report in Maryland for $300 per registered business is regardless of the size of the business or its profitability. For example, now, as a semi-retired home improvement contractor and still a working home inspector, I own 2 LLCs registered in the state of Maryland. Each year, I'm required to pay a total of $600 in filing fees for businesses that may earn less than $25,000 a year in profit. This fee is not a user fee for a service, but an extremely regressive tax. And this fee does pose a hardship for small businesses and actively discourages business owners from remaining in good standard with the state of Maryland and discourages new businesses from starting in Maryland. Business losses sustained because of the pandemic has made it worse this year. And I'm sure I'm speaking now along with many other Maryland small business owners and strongly support the passage of SB 403 and the elimination of this very regressive tax. And thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you.
And I'll be glad with any questions, but I know you're in a hurry.
Thank you. Malenka Code. Anita Moore Hebron. Joy Noel.
Yes, I'm here.
Hi.
Greetings. Hi. Greetings, Mr. Chairman. Greetings to the Budget and Taxation Committee, everyone here in their prospective places and all in attendance. Thank you for allowing me to testify in favor for SB 403. Today, I do not have numbers or statistics to present to you, but what I have is passion. My name is Joy Noel. I am the owner of Joyful Expressions. It's an occasion enhancer business that allows joy, love, and care to be spread to families, churches, and communities. I am testifying today from a viewpoint of a small business owner. I am here as an entrepreneur who has always had a dream of owning her own. Raised by a single mother, witnessed the efforts of her labor, witnessed hard work, and triumph firsthand. I always knew that all my mother needed was that one break, that one thing that made the financial difference. I will not keep you long, but I say all of this to say, when I started my business, I had a dream, one of growth, opportunity, with a personal goal of financial freedom and success. I also speak to my niece, who is a recent college graduate, 22 years old. She's had her business in LLC for 2 years, but has not sold one product. However, she does have a good standing and good status for her business because she has paid the filing fee every year along with myself, but has not had a profit as of right now. I also say that I remember receiving that one piece of mail with my name on it, with my business and company name, and it seemed like all of my dreams began to show real with every step. As you may or may not know, running a business is difficult at any level, especially when you have to keep up with costs, overhead, pandemics, just to mention a few. But having an opportunity to have a small financial break will not only help me, but it will help many other dreamers who simply don't have the funds. Thank you for your time and consideration in favor for SB 403.
Thank you very much. Hala Jackson.
Yes, Sherman, I am here. Good
Welcome.
afternoon. Thank you. Good afternoon, Mr. Chairman and members of the Budget and Taxation Committee. My name is Shayla Jackson, and I have had the great honor many years ago of interning in the Maryland General Assembly for the Honorable Senator Nathaniel Exum. So I understand the great importance and the impact of the work you do for the citizens of Maryland, and I want to say thank you. Today, I'm here to ask for each of you to vote favorably for Senate Bill 403 to eliminate the $300 filing fee. As an attorney, I've had the privilege of counseling and assisting my clients who are aspiring and current business owners. Some of them are excelling in the pandemic and others are still getting their footing. Clients who come to me who desire to start a business towards the end of the year, I usually advise them to wait until the new year because of the $300 filing fee. I believe that Senate Bill 403 will do the following things. First, as many of the small business owners here have said, it would allow them to get their footing while in the pandemic, as well as increase their revenue. And I say that from personal experience, as many years ago, I was forced to close my business down because I could not continue to afford the $300 filing fee while in law school. I also, over the last couple of years, have paid that filing fee despite not having any personal physical property in the state of Maryland. So I believe that too, eliminating this $300 filing fee will allow for business owners to put that money back into their business, whether it's for infrastructure or if it's for hiring. And we know that when small businesses hire, they usually hire local, which will help put more of Maryland citizens back to work or add additional income to their already income, that may have been hindered or affected due to COVID. And last but not least, I believe that it would incentivize businesses from other states. Because of COVID, their state governments have been hit with revenue issues, especially during the mandatory lockdown. I believe that SB 403, if passed, will incentivize businesses from other states that are dealing with high tax liability and taxes to move their businesses to Maryland or start their businesses in Maryland and do more business in Maryland. So I ask each of you to put Maryland at the forefront nationwide and send the message that you care for small business owners, as well as businesses, whether they are small or large, and to help small business owners financially during the pandemic to excel and succeed despite everything going on. So I ask that you vote favorably for SB 403. Thank you for your time.
Thank you very much. Sean Smith. Siobhan McMillan. Richard Magnani.
Wait, did you say Bobby Epstein?
I have not yet.
Okay. Yeah.
Hello. Hello.
Oh, yes. Good. Very good. Richard.
Hi, my name's Richard Magnani. I'm a lifelong Maryland resident. I've been a business owner for over 30 years, and this is my first Zoom meeting. I'm in support of Bill 403, and I've been researching business activity in Maryland and found that many businesses in Maryland register in other states, mainly due to the higher costs to operate and register in Maryland. SB 403 would be a step in the right direction to make Maryland more business friendly. Also, in my research, I've found many corporations and LLCs that have been forfeited by the comptroller that continue to operate under the table using the business checking accounts established when they were initially incorporated, not filing any of their due taxes or this annual fee. A number of these forfeited businesses have even received PPP loans. I would like to see in this bill something that would address this abuse, such as having banks periodically require certificates of good standing from their business customers in order to maintain their accounts. SB 403 would be a big benefit to legitimate businesses, but having something in it to stifle these illegitimate businesses would be another benefit by reducing unfair competition and eliminate lost taxes. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I know obviously everybody's been waiting who's still left to testify, and we're just taking them in order as you signed up.
Senator.
Yeah.
Senator. Sean Smith is having problems unmuting himself, so I will keep trying and I'll let you know. Okay, because he is here. Okay.
That's great. And then Mr. Epstein tried to get on a second ago, and you're about 15 away. And I know Mr. Sawane was waiting, and you're about 10 away. So that's
okay.
That's where we are.
Okay.
Jonathan Wheatman or Wetman.
Wheatman, had it right first time.
Oh, yeah, very good.
Perfect. So good afternoon, Mr. Chairman and members of the committee. Thank you for this opportunity to speak favorably at Senate Bill 403. In terms of brief introduction, I'm an attorney in private practice up here in beautiful Carroll County. My practice is built on assisting small businesses both get started and to grow and prosper. Formerly, I was a director of economic development in Carroll County, and my portfolio included Main Street businesses, small businesses, and a whole lot of startups up here. So obviously this topic, this electronic filing fee, has been near and dear to my heart for quite some time. So as you can probably imagine, a lot of what I do in my law practice is counseling individuals who are looking to start their businesses on how to best go about doing that. And the conversation when it comes to LLCs always revolves around the pros and the cons. The pros are numerous. The only con traditionally is this electronic filing fee. And it can be tough for a prospective business owner to hear from the beginning that they're going to pay a $300 annual fee for the privilege of filing electronically. And as has been mentioned before, often the tax is anywhere from $20 to $100, and the filing fee is a multiple of the actual tax. So let me put it this way. Imagine you sit down for a first date and the person sitting across from you says, hey, I really like this, but I want you to know right up front, I'm going to be very high maintenance and very expensive. That's how a new business owner often walks away from that first meeting with me, thinking of the state of Maryland and SDAT, and really other than the electronic filing fee, they couldn't be more wrong. We say that Maryland is open for business. I believe that very much to be true. We say that Maryland is where innovation lives. Innovation lives here. I believe that is very much true, but I would like the committee to understand that as a new prospective business owner and an actual business owner establishes their first relationship with the state of Maryland, it's often not a pleasant one because of learning of this electronic filing fee they're going to pay each year. I'm not going to repeat many of the excellent points already made on what that means to a small business to save that amount of money. But I wonder what it would be like if the first impression of a new business owner in the state of Maryland was fully positive and supportive from the state, instead of sometimes feeling like it's an impediment or discouraging. And let us tell you what we're going to take from you each year for the privilege of filing a tax fee electronically. I'd also like to put this in context. Through my own research, it appears to me that Maryland is tied for the 4th highest state in terms of annual fee filings for this type of situation, for electronic filing or paper filing, just for the privilege to pay your taxes or remain registered in the state. I don't think that's a category in which we want the state of Maryland to be 4th highest. Bringing that down to 0 would certainly put us where we should be and keep us very consistent with Maryland open for business. So I'll leave you with this. I certainly urge the committee, as have the others that have spoken, to report favorably on Senate Bill 403. It's going to be a very positive thing for the state and a very positive thing for our small businesses. So I urge you each to do what, in my opinion, is the right thing. Thank you again for your time and this opportunity.
Thank you very much. Teresa Tanner. Kahajid Bamba. Christina Tanner. Sabrina Thompson. Angelique Alvarez. Charig Patel. Himansu Amin. Or Himansu Patel. Okay, Mr. Sawade. Welcome.
Chairman, I think when I signed up yesterday, instead of saying favorable, I mistakenly said unfavorable. I mean, so that's why I was trying to raise my hand to say,
I
is that
see.
the reason
No,
why?
you're signed up correctly.
Oh, okay, okay.
Yeah.
Good. Yeah, I've been in a lifelong resident of Maryland since I came to this country in 1990. That's 32 years. I never moved anywhere. I stayed within the Silver Spring, Howard County, Montgomery corridor. So I started my business in 2007 as an IT consulting company. And one of my biggest issue was this filing fee. It used to be paper. There was no electronic filing until recently. And that I would comment as that for making it for making it an electronic filing, because when it was paper, I have to had my accountant do it for me because it was cumbersome. I want the committee to consider eliminating this fee for a lot of reasons, some of which my other business colleagues have already mentioned. But one of the issues I have with this bill is my company was put into forfeiture at one time because of this filing fee, and I had to go back and recover it. So that wasn't good. And that still shows on my business profile, my company's business profile. The other thing is each time you forget to file this fee, I mean, your company is flagged as not in good standing. Obviously, having that on your company name profile, you cannot even compete or submit proposals for any potential contracts. And the other reason is I travel a lot around, not only in Maryland, but Virginia, DC, West Virginia, Delaware, and Pennsylvania to go and meet my clients. And I drive long distance, I mean, round trip. So eliminating this fee could help me take care of that gas. I mean, put that money into gas money to help me reach my customers. So I am really in support of the committee considering waiving this fee for businesses, whether it's electronic or paper-based. I mean, companies decide to do the electronic filing or the paper-based. I hope you guys will consider that. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Senator, we have Sean Smith now.
Okay, great.
Okay.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you, Mr. Chairman and the committee for having me today to testify.
Absolutely.
As a longtime Howard County resident and a small business owner, it is very difficult for a business who is a startup business or a fledgling business, considering all of the operating costs and expenses that it takes to get a business off the ground. The $300 seems more as a penalty for a business to do business and operate in Maryland versus the privilege that it should be. And I believe it creates a undue hardship on most businesses who are in that growth stage. And if ultimately the reason for a business is to grow, to become fiscally responsible and be able to pay taxes, then the state would then in that port get the revenue that they would need. But the fee, which really serves a small business owner, there is no service that we get for that, is really a hardship on most businesses. And I believe as I forgot her name prior to me, Miss Jackson, I believe, Thayla Jackson, spoke as though when she had to stop and close her business due to law school and then start that back up again at a future date, for a business that may not have operated, let's say, for 5 years, for whatever reason, let's say she might have been in school, and to now they begin operating again for a business that wasn't operating, wasn't generating any revenue nor tax responsibilities, to have to go back and pay 5 years in that example of $1,500 when they weren't operating a business seems like, again, a penalty versus the privilege that it should be. So I'm truly in favor of SB 0403 to help small businesses become the larger businesses that they want to be. And I thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you. Glad you were able to get on.
Thank you, sir.
Okay. Pedro Marin. John Ty Reed. Demetra Sims. Matthew Costa. Here's Kevin from before. If he's made it on. And Devron Croxton. Annie Brock. And Mr. Epstein. Thank you for your patience. I hope you're still there.
No problem. I'm here.
Great.
All right, thank you. I am a lifelong Marylander. I have grown and sold a few businesses here in Maryland. I went to University of Maryland. My kids go to Maryland. My wife went to Maryland. We're all Maryland. And Maryland's always been behind the curve on business, unfortunately, though I do love the state. And I think with a few tweaks, could become a lot more business friendly. And this LLC thing caught my eye. And I think it's a very positive thing to get rid of that fee. I'm a serial entrepreneur. I've grown and sold a few businesses, and just in the past couple of years, I know I've probably spent $2,000 to $3,000 in LLC fees in the state with various LLCs that I've formed. I discovered that other states are a lot less expensive, and for instance, Virginia, our neighbor to the south, is only $50 a year in LLC fees. So I've unfortunately for the state of Maryland, made a serious effort to move all my LLCs out of Maryland and all operations out of Maryland. And just this year, I've moved 3 or 4 LLCs and closed them with SDAT through the Maryland Business Express. When I saw this thing, I have another LLC that I was about to close this week, and really last week. I've held off closing it because I saw this notification, because I didn't feel like paying the $300. There's another one that I transferred to another state. When that merger of the LLCs goes through, that will be closed, and I'll save $300 there. So you could see how it discourages entrepreneurship, especially when you have multiple LLCs, and other states don't charge it at all, or charge nominal, like Virginia, $50. Also in the past, I used to have my CPA firm do this. So not file the forms before they went electronic. So not only would I have to pay the $309, but I'd also have to pay a CPA maybe a couple $100 per their time doing the returns. So each one was about $500. So you can see how this gets very onerous. It does nothing good for the state. It doesn't encourage entrepreneurship. And I think it's a great idea to get rid of it. And it will bring businesses to the state. They'll want to set up shop here, and they'll want to have their annual reports filed here because there'll be no cost. Florida's about $130. Like I said, Virginia's 50, Carolina's about 200, and I have operations in different states. So it's something to think about. I strongly support it. If anyone has any questions for me, I'm happy to answer any questions. And thank you for listening.
You bet. Thank you very much. Francis Paul.
Yes, good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon. Thank you, Mr. Chairman and the committee, for allowing me to testify. I'm real brief because some of my colleagues have already shared my sentiments. I absolutely 100% am in favor of this bill for 0403. As a child care provider in the state of Maryland, our industry has been hit extremely hard. And I know that for some of the grants and things that were offered, a lot of us had to be in good standing in order to achieve that. And many of us found out that we were not in good standing in order to get some of those funds. So I myself I thought that I was in good standing, so I had to, quickly find some of the monies to help during the pandemic in order to get myself in good standing so that I can participate in some of the programs that were offered for us to be favorable. In addition to that, I just wanted to say that with paying the fee, I wouldn't have a problem in paying it if I knew what the funds were going to be used for. And if we were only paying just because we had to pay because we had a business and we couldn't see, like, was this going towards processing? Was this going towards, I don't know, maybe other training? Was it being put towards something? Then I can understand the fee. But just paying $300, especially now with COVID and being in my industry that has a tendency to be very unstable at times, it can be a serious hardship. And I'm pretty sure there are many other child care providers in the state who can agree with me as well. So I thank you guys for listening to my testimony and allowing me to share. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Patricia Neal. Donna Whitaker. Fancy Carter. Karen Bullock.
I'm here. I am here.
Great.
I've been here for a minute, so I just want to thank you, Chairman, committee members. I know it's been a long day, and I'm excited to see a lot of my small business compadres on here. I am a small business owner, MBE, DBE certified in the state as well as in Baltimore City, and I just wanted to testify in favor of eliminating this fee. Again, as everyone has stated, this has been something that I've been paying since 2000 when we started, and we just never know where they go. We just know we have to pay this fee in order to keep our business in good standing and to keep our MBE certification. So I am in full favor of waiving this fee if we file electronically, which we do, because as you know, with COVID, and now with COVID, a lot of small business, I'm a business consultant, don't have anything other than my computer. So there are times when there's no revenue generated, especially during COVID, because we weren't able to get out. And then we still had to find the money to pay the $300 fee. So I just wanted to take a moment just to say that I was in favor of this, and thank you for your time.
You bet. Thank you. Sean Davis. Okay, that was the last that I had on the list. Kim, is there anyone else waiting to testify?
Not to my knowledge. I think we are done.
Okay. Any last questions for the administration? Okay, that concludes the hearing on this bill and the hearing for today. Thank you for everyone who participated. And we'll see you all tomorrow, committee. Thank you.
Have a good